Am I recording? Yes. To be or not to be a CNA? That is the question. Hi everyone, my name is Olivia and welcome to my channel. So, I know a lot of people, especially in the nursing field, they ask about whether or not it is a good idea to be a CNA during or before nursing school. So a CNA means a certified nursing assistant. And I know that a lot of people are contemplating whether or not it's a good idea. And I know that a lot of people are either thinking about it before nursing school or during nursing school. It's kind of like a way to get experience while you're, on your way to becoming an RN. I started to be a nursing assistant the summer before my last year of nursing school. A lot of my peers and I, we were hired for the float pool. The float pool or the float department, what that means is you're hired to one, healthcare name, I guess you would say. And this healthcare name that I was hired to, they have 4 hospitals within the county here. So what I had to do before every one of my shifts was I had to call in and I had to ask where am I supposed to go? And they kind of tell me which hospital needs me the most. So the reason of the float department is so that if a CNA on one floor is sick or something has happened that they can't come in, you have backup, meaning the float department, us. So we were the backup. And so with that being said, I was able to go to different hospitals for every shift. I didn't stay on one unit. So I thought it'd be a good idea to kind of talk about the pros and cons of a nursing assistant. And some of the pros and cons are going to be specific to the float department. So before I kind of list out the pros and cons of a nursing assistant, I do think that overall being a nursing assistant is very beneficial towards you. I personally think that the pros that I'm about to list outweighs the cons. And with the cons, I definitely think that's something that you are able to work on, and it will help you kind of be more adaptable, I guess you would say. Like, you'll be able to adapt to new changes really suddenly, and I just think overall, cons will also help you towards being a better nurse, I guess you would say. So, with that being said, let's just list the pros and cons already. So pro number 1, you gain a lot of experience when it comes to patient care. So as a nursing assistant, your responsibility is to provide bed baths for your patients, to ambulate your patient to and from the bathroom in a safely manner, and just, give them water, food, just anything that they need. You are providing much more better quality care towards your patient with every shift. Pro number 2, you're more familiar with charting. So even though you're a nursing assistant, you don't chart everything. That's pretty much the RN's role. But what you do chart as a nursing assistant is intake and output. And then you chart safety measures. So you kind of have to go through and kind of have to mark, if you did everything. Even though it's not a lot of charting, you still are very familiar with the charting setup, and you just know how to maneuver your way through the system. So, it's not a lot of experience compared to an RN's role in terms of charting, but you still get very familiarized with the charting system. So pro number 3, you gain a lot of experience just overall in patient care, with coworkers such as another nursing assistant with another RN. So with that being said, all of these experiences that you gain, you get to use for example, for interviews. If someone asks you a question, you can totally bring up an experience that you had as a nursing assistant and kind of answer it like that. Or you can also use these experiences for future references for when you are an RN. For example, if you're in an ICU setting and you're an RN, it depends on the facility, but I know that a few facilities, they don't have nursing assistants. So with that being said, you have to give bed baths for your patients. You kind of have to, help move them so that they don't get any pressure ulcers or whatnot. And so you kind of gain experience from your nursing assistant to take better care of your patient. Pro number 4, you get to establish relationships. So as a nursing assistant, you get to interact with a lot of nurses, a lot of nursing assistants. Sometimes you can interact with like the manager or whatnot. Like, that is kind of a big deal. I do have to say though, being in the float department, that is a little difficult just because you're always rotating on different units. So you're exposed to more people, you're exposed to more specialties, I guess you would say. The experiences that you get to gain, as well as establishing relationships with your coworkers, is very beneficial, I say. Pro number 5. If you are in nursing school, I think the fact that you're able to be in a position where you're a nursing assistant, where you're, even if it's summer, you're still exposed to a hospital setting. On top of that, you get paid as well. So I know with students in college, we want to be able to financially help ourselves. I think what's really good about having the CNA role as your job position while you're in school is that not only are you getting paid while you're in college, but you're gaining more nursing experiences. I mean, you're a nursing assistant, but you are gaining a lot of experience with the patient care, with how to work with the team. So it's a huge win-win for college students, I think. So I just think it's a really good position for a student. Pro number 6. This is more specifically for the float pool. So if you're on the float department, or you're thinking about being a nursing assistant for the float department, one really good pro is that you're exposed to a lot of units. And it's just really interesting to see how each floor is different and similar at the same time. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for all the pros for being a nursing assistant. And so moving on to the cons. Con number 1, it's kind of time consuming, especially if you're in school. For me personally, I had classes every day of the week, and so that meant that I had to do my shifts on the weekend, and these shifts are pretty long. They're 8 hours to 12 hours long, and so that takes away a weekend. Sorry, there was a noise. So that takes away a weekend day from kind of you, your friends, your family, or whatnot, and a weekend day from you kind of catching up on studying or a project or whatnot. So I definitely have to say, if time is a struggle with you guys, just go with your gut feeling. If your gut feeling is telling you to not take a CNA role, just kind of go with it. And if you can't become a CNA for reasons such as timing, it's not the end of the world either. It's just a really good experience that you can gain as a nursing student. However, there's a lot more other experiences that you can gain as a nursing student, such as volunteering. You can totally volunteer at the hospitals. There's just other opportunities. If your gut feeling is telling you guys to take the CNA role and you are a little worried about timing, this is a perfect opportunity for you guys to practice time management. And that's really important in the nursing field. So there's just a lot of benefits towards being a nursing student, or a nursing assistant. So that's kind of what I mean by these cons can help you guys as a person, as a student nurse, and a future RN. So I don't know, that's kind of why I think pros outweigh the cons in a way. Anywho, con number 2. There is a possibility as a CNA that you get a lot of patients. So there has been a few times in my life where I was rotating to a floor and I was the only nursing assistant and I had 20 patients with me. It's kind of overwhelming to have 20 patients. Bed baths and ambulating to and from the bathroom, it takes time for one patient. And so usually a nursing assistant, you get depends on your facility, but for my facility we get about 12-ish patients, but for me it was just me and I had like 20 plus. So what this con has helped me learn is that, you know, it really pushed me to like utilize the team that was provided for me on that unit. So I was fortunate to have the nurses kind of realize like, wow, it's kind of a lot for you. Just, you know, if you need any help, please don't hesitate to call us. And like I even had one like nurse told me one time that I don't even have to worry about charting, which, you know, she would chart for me and all that stuff, and I'm just like thinking to myself like, thank you, you know, like it's just, this con really helped me like utilize my team and really work as a team member within the nursing field. And so I think that was just like a wonderful opportunity. It was a little bit overwhelming, I'm not gonna lie, but I got through it, and the nurses around me, they were like checking up on me and making sure that I was doing okay. It's just like, you know, it kind of goes back to the pro of like developing relationships with your peers or with your coworkers. It's kind of like a good feeling to have. Don't be afraid to use your team, you know, to really ask for help. Okay, so these next two cons are specifically for the float department. So as a nursing assistant on the float pool, it's kind of difficult to develop really close relationships with your coworkers. And it's a little bit more difficult to kind of gain connections in that sense. I mean, it's not impossible for as a nursing assistant to float pool. I think my camera shut me off. I think I'm recording though. Yeah, I'm recording. Float pool department can't really form like close relationships, but it's not impossible. For me, as being on the float department, I either had to observe a patient for the entirety of my shift, or I had the 12 plus patients and I had to like take care of each one. I would call like 2 hours before, ask them where I would go, and then I didn't really know what my role was before I got into the hospital, and knowing me, I kind of like to know what I'm going to do for like the next 8 hours. I don't know, that was a little like nerve-wracking for me, I guess you would say, because I wasn't able to like mentally prepare myself. I like to prepare, if you guys know what I mean. You don't really know what to expect as a nursing assistant, especially on the float pool, but like I said, that really helps you guys like grow in terms of how to adapt to situations. Those are kind of the cons, but like I said, these cons you can definitely work on. Don't really let these cons I listed kind of set you back. So yeah, I definitely think being a nursing assistant, especially during nursing school, is a very good opportunity. So that's kind of all I have for you guys today. I really hope that this video helps a tiny bit. I don't know if it'll help. This video might have helped. Please let me know in the comments down below. If you guys have any other more questions for me, again, comments down below. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you have already watched it, if you've gotten up to this point, I hope you have a good day. Bye!